Welcome back. This is Jeff Byers. I'm the instructor for ANI 150, Introduction to 3D Modeling and Game Art. And you just got done finished modeling a high polycan and a low polycan. And so now I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that. In this module, we're going to go ahead and unwrap and UV map our low poly can. Okay, so I'm not going to go through this schedule because you guys know that and you're getting used to that. We start on Mondays, and I would highly recommend that you do not start this project late. These modules progressively get harder and harder to finish on time. So just because the first one was fairly easy and most of you guys got that done in a couple days, the modeling, and some of you got them done in one day, which is fine. And you got everything in, that's fine, but don't expect that to happen every single module. Again, it gets progressively tougher to get assignments done because you're learning more. I always take it easy on you when we first get started, then as we progress. And that's with anything. That's how it should be anyway. For everything you do, it gets progressively harder until you get to that point where you are really getting good at what you do and modeling faster and texturing faster, and you're able to do more. Okay, so this overview basically this is Module 2, Part 2. It's a two-part series. In this module, we're going to continue to learn the MyUI user interface, either through projects or through lectures. You will also learn how to use the UV tools, specifically the UV tool editor, texture and render, and create a professional presentation of the low poly food can. Again, your objectives you guys can read, and the things you should be able to do by the time you get done with this course. But this is what we're really looking at, is the Module 2 course assignment. What is it? Okay. So basically, you're going to be adding texture details to the food can as a low poly. And here's an example of what it should look like when we're all finished. This is a professional presentation. That's what we're looking to do. And just imagine whatever food can label you would like to put on there, you sure can. As long as it's realistic. I don't want you creating your own unless you can get it to look like a professional illustration. If you can't do that, then I would suggest that you get your camera, your cell phone camera, if it has a high enough resolution. Again, we're looking at resolutions of 2K and higher, so 2000 pixels resolution or higher. If you can't get that, don't use your cell phone. Use a digital camera or something like that that has enough resolution that you can get this done and have it look good. So the whole idea is that you can peel off a food can label yourself and put it on a scanner or take a picture of it. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to lay it flat, but you can take either tape or some type of glue that you can put and lay it flat and take a picture. I do that all the time. I really don't use a scanner. I do have one, but it's really not plugged in right now. But if you can take pictures of your cell phone. Most cell phones are at least 5 or 6 megapixels, which is enough to capture at least 2000 resolution, so pixels resolution. So you should be okay there. But that's what we're heading towards. This you're going to be turning something like this in. I need to see the front and the back and the top of the can. Okay, so I basically laid this out. Instead of doing something generic, I wanted to kind of create a scene. I think that's how you present your materials in a professional manner, and future employers like that too as well. They can see that it's just not a model now, or it's just not a textured model now. It's a scene. You actually try to create a scene, and that means a lot. So we're going to talk about UDIMs, and we're going to talk about single tile UV layouts. Basically, in the past, is what we used to do all the time. but UDIM tiles are really the rage now, and they're coming into focus with film and game industry. So I want you to be prepared and be open to it. Again, we're going to be learning more about texturing and textures. So PBR, photo-based rendering. Textures might be a new terminology for you. And things have changed significantly in the last 2 years, so I want to make sure you're up to date on everything. So AI standard surface Arnold materials, we're using Arnold now and as the main renderer. It comes with Maya now, so we're going to be using that. And it takes full advantage of the UDIM tiles. And of course then we're going to, like we talked about, present it in a professional presentation. So that's basically in a nutshell what our assignment is, so you get to see it straight up. And software used, make sure if you haven't downloaded your software, you're really behind and you're really going to struggle, because without software you can't possibly get through the course. So make sure you get that. Again, somebody had to actually tell me that you weren't seeing this image, so so thank you, and continue letting me know if you can't see the images. For some reason, we've had some issues with Canvas the last week, of course the first week of classes, and namely syllabus. When you update syllabus, it doesn't update, so so hopefully they can fix that. But I was able to fix the images, and so you should see those. And you need those images. Basically, menu sets is 1. It tells you number 2. There's number 2, what they are, and the numbers. So you need to memorize this. These are the minimum for understanding the Maya UI. So, and there's much more inside, but I just need you to memorize this stuff and know what they are. So please look at the numbers, read what they are, okay, and then learn more about them. Go do some research. And then we got the Maya one key shortcuts. These aren't all the shortcuts, okay, because there are multiple key shortcuts and hotkeys. So we'll talk about those later, but right now I need you to learn these. And this will be on your quiz. Anything that's in a module will be on a quiz. I can even have quizzes on Module 1 if I want to continue doing that. So I can go back and look at modules. So just remember that I mainly just worry about or just focus on the module I'm on when I do quizzes, but there might be other, just wait for those questions or those quiz questions to I'm allowed to go basically over each module if I want to, twice or 3 times. What's the lecture this time? It's going to be over texturing. And what is it? Some of you, this is the first time you've ever even experienced a software package, so this is something you really need to understand. And basically texturing is like taking an object and then unwrapping it. Okay, let's say it's a sphere. Take a sphere and then you unwrap it flat. It looks like those world maps that you see, right? So the idea with unwrapping is that you have to cut seams. Now Maya can do it for you, or you can cut the seams yourself. Now we're going to let Maya do it a couple times for us. The first the can was probably the easiest thing you'll ever unwrap. So that was a really nice starting point for you guys, I think. And I think you appreciate that. And so this will be easier for you. When you get into something more complex, it becomes a lot more difficult to try to figure out where do I cut those seams. So it's efficient. It's as efficient as possible, and that takes some experience. So my job is to make that transformation a lot easier for you. So you're going from a food can, and then you're going to go and do a dagger, with multiple surfaces. So that's what's going to be next. So I've got to prep you and at least get you through the whole entire process from pre-production modeling low poly to high poly, and then showing you how to unwrap UVs. And so we talk about texture scale. Today's images range from 2K to 4K. That's normal. But now we're looking at 8K and 16K respectively for film, right? So I mean, things have really changed, okay? And it's breathtaking. It is. It's just amazing. Have you guys seen an 8K TV? Have you seen one? It's incredible. You can literally stand like 6 inches away from it, and it doesn't blur. So it's insane how detailed things are getting. And we talk about what are UVs, what exactly are they. Please read this, and then some of the things you have to watch. All these are required to watch, because I could have a quiz over just this video if I wanted to. It's within the lesson content, and that could be something that I do sometime. So basic UV mapping techniques goes through that. You have to watch this first to kind of get an understanding for basic UV mapping. What is PBR? What is physically based rendering? Why is it far superior to what we used to do with specular maps and bump maps? You know, it is really superior to anything, and it's really accurate. And we talk more about PBR. Explained what is it and what does it look like. And then UDIMs. This is kind of it's a new subject. It's probably it's just a couple years old, so it's fairly new, but it's really taking the world by storm, and it's really fun to use. So I'm hoping that I can get you gradually putting into that, and you get comfortable with it and understand it a little bit and know how to control it. Alright, so then we talk about basics of lighting. I think that's really important too as well. I take you through the 3-point lighting standard for portrait lighting. And we're going to be using that for when we get into lighting our scenes appropriately. And sometimes we don't need all the lights. Sometimes if you want to be more dramatic, you can do Arnold Sky Dome and then one light. But if we do a portrait, we're going to need to have understand 3-point lighting. So please watch the videos and read the lectures. And then Substance Painter. This is about an hour long, and there's no way in the world you're going to be able to memorize everything that's happening here in this, but you need to watch it at least once all the way through. Maybe take notes as you're watching it. Okay, I would want you to take notes while you're watching it. And so again, I want to warn you, it's an hour long, but it has an incredible amount of information for somebody that's just starting a Substance Painter, and that's probably all of you, I would say. Maybe one or two of you have used it before, but definitely this is going to be something new for you. And again, I go through what's the course assignment again, right? So it kind of reminds you of after all that stuff. And then here come the assignments. So this is the real course assignment tutorials. And UV mapping our low poly can. We talk about that in great length and talk about some of the tools. And then some of the last minute changes that you always face when you find out something doesn't work. So when I was baking the maps, I realized that I didn't have enough depth in the top of the lid of the can for the maps to bake properly, and I wanted to make sure that it was something that you weren't going to get frustrated in doing, so I made that addition here. So that's why I added a little bit more modeling to it. It's not a big deal, and I showed you how, if you do have to make a change, how do you make that change and keep some of the UVs that you have instead of totally destroying your UVs. So I showed you how to do that. And then we bring you in Substance Painter, which is just an amazing program, wonderful program that I own and I love it. And then we go into, and once we export those textures, we bring them into Maya and add those textures and create a Photoshop texture, and that's this part where I show you how to create your label and how to place it onto the UV space and how to use your UV snapshot as a guide. And then after that, you render out your piece. Make sure you read the grading rubrics, how I'm going to grade you. And then, of course, the turn-in instructions. I'll just say this right up front. A lot of you guys had questions about what I said in videos. Well, I do those videos before I do the turn-in instructions, and sometimes before I even write this. So some of those videos they have the right information, but what I want you to do is take the information for what it is, and the turn-in instructions is the end-all instructions. You have to have this in. You have to pay attention to this. That overrules everything. The turn-in instructions. Now, if there's instructions in here that don't follow this, then you need to let me know. Okay? Otherwise, you will watch the video, do exactly what I want you to do, and turn it in. Okay? It's better to do that than to make a mistake and turn something in I don't want and get graded down on. Because you could say, if you watch this video and and you're compliant, with the video, you're compliant with everything. You're good to go. You're good to go. All right. All right. So folder structure, please pay attention to that. That's really super important. And again, if you have questions about anything, let me know. And I always appreciate you guys letting me know if you can't see something or there's an image missing, and you watch this, the instructions part of this video, and you notice that something's showing up and it's not showing up when you are opening the Canvas, the module 2, then let me know, and I'll jump on that and try to get it fixed. Just like what happened in module 1. That happens sometimes, and I don't even know about it. Okay? So thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope your renders come out great, and I hope you find a really nice, really fun. Again, I don't want you creating your own artwork unless it is spot on illustration professional looking. Okay, I want it to be amazing. So it's got to look photorealistic, like a real professional illustrator. I'm not saying you're not. I'm just saying some of you come in with the pen tool and draw stuff on, and I don't want to see that. In fact, I'll count off on it. So if you do make your own, and I'm okay with that, make your own label as a challenge to yourself. You have to have everything that a real label has. So you better have a reference of a real label, and I want to see it looking professional. Okay? All right. So again, have fun and explore and learn as much as you possibly can, and I will see you in Module 3. Have a great day.